Is the day that the Lord has made, and I choose to rejoice and be glad in it. Hello, hello, family. How you guys doing? This is your brother, Dr. Tony Davis. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Everyday Miracles right here on the Holy Spirit Broadcasting Network. We have an exciting show today. I have a very special guest. I'm so happy to be able to introduce this young lady. She is a wondrous woman of God. She loved the Lord. She has an ambitious future in front of her. God is using her in a mighty way, and she is being elevated to such great heights. And I'm so proud of her. And I wanted to just bring her on to share her vision, her past, her life, her story of how she's gotten this far thus far. And she has a remarkable story, and I'm so happy for her. And I just want to read a little bit about her before I bring her on. So listen to me. Listen to this. All right, I'm going to read a little bit of her bio. All righty. Our guest today is all the way from Canton, Mississippi in the house, you guys. My hometown, okay? Canton, Mississippi, which is my hometown, okay? She is committed. She is a committed woman of faith, a servant, a mentor, educator, and a community organizer. She is a graduate of Jackson State University with degrees in mathematics and teaching, and Mississippi College with an EDS and educational leadership. She lives by her seniority mantra, all is conquered by labor. I love that, which to me that means that through hard work and dedication, any obstacle of challenge can be overcome. So we overcome by our testimonies, by our work, by the things that we do. We overcome the obstacles in life. So that's a powerful statement. This bodacious community leader has also contributed to student success through various leadership roles. She founded Finally First, a mentorship program focused on personal development and empowerment. That's awesome. This is a big one, family. This right here. Check this out. Currently, she is running for mayor of Canton, Mississippi. Come on, somebody. Mayor of my hometown, you guys, that I grew up in, okay? So I'm really, really excited about this. You know, I'm definitely looking forward to this interview. Okay, she's currently running for mayor of Canton, Mississippi under the campaign theme, A New Way, A New Voice. Her vision is to drive economic growth, improve education, and strengthen community engagement through transparent and innovative leadership. I present to some and welcome to others, Dr. Comelia Walker in the house. Hello, doctor.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Davis, so much for the opportunity to be on the show today and to be interviewed by you, Uncle Tony.
That's right. You know, I was excited this morning. I called my elder brother, Brother Robert Lee, and I said, Bird, guess we called him Bird, you know, back in the day. Bird, guess what, man? I'm having your granddaughter on the show, you know, so that's my great niece. And then I called my brother in Jersey, then a friend of mine over in Africa, Zimba, he's watching in Canada. So we got folks all over the place that's tuning in, and even Atlanta, Georgia, some of my classmates pulled out to me. And so, hey, we're going to have a great time today. I'm looking forward to this interview with you, Nisi. All right. Okay, so let's start by, I wanted to just ask you a few questions I want the viewers to get to know who you are. You know, I'm really excited about your role as, you know, campaigning as a candidate for the mayor of Canton, Mississippi. I think it's so well needed. I think, you know, someone with your vision, especially this upcoming generation, the young folk, you guys, your walk is differently from our walk, you know, and you guys, especially with this new age of computer technology and these Facebook and FaceTimes and all these things, you know, we used to scrub things down, you know, just write stuff down. But now you can do it with just a couple of strokes of a cell phone. You know, this is the whole new era, you know, and so I think it's wonderful. And I'm really, really happy to see our young ladies and men, as you guys are showing a lot of progress, you know, from when I came up in Canton, Mississippi. It's just a total different place, you know. So how do you, you know, let me just come out of my side of my mind here. You know, how did you begin? What encouraged you to decide to, or influence you to run for mayor of Canton, Mississippi?
So I think that's a great question. Thank you for it. Something that we always realize is what is our place in our community, you know. And
Mm,
I've always come to understand that we are no better if we leave our hometown and do great things. But if we stay there and do something great, then that makes sense. But as I
mm,
became older and I realized that the place in which I grew up, which was King Ranch Road, it was just identified as the county. So at that time, I could not run for mayor. I'm
mm,
sure that I would have been younger if I had the opportunity.
mm,
However, we're now able to now be considered or entailed in the city of Canton, which gave me the opportunity to now run for mayor. And now that I
mm,
understand that there is such a generational gap between my age group, your age group, and the age group thereof younger, knowing that I can bridge all of those generational gaps together, even across the ethnicities that exist in the city of Canton, I wanted to be able to do that by having the data driven decision making for the citizens of Canton, Mississippi.
That's awesome, Nisi. That's really awesome, especially with your, your inquisitiveness to bring that gap, together of our young and old people, in the city of Kent. I think that's so wonderful and so well needed. Um, how did your background of mathematics and education influence your decision to run for mayor?
So as it relates to mathematics, when we think about numbers or just math, we know that that's not a subject that everyone likes, right? However,
Right.
it makes you think critically. It makes you analyze the problems. It also makes you be able to face complex questions or just complex problems. As it
Mm,
relates to being a mayoral candidate, this is the same thing that we will have to apply in that role. You will
mm,
face complex situations. You will have to be able to make those hard decisions on how to analyze a situation and see what's the best route to go for the citizens of Canton, but also being able to enforce policies that will best help the citizen or help the future. But as it relates to education, being able to realize that as an educator, here I am before young people who look up to me, who expect me to be able to best guide them in their decision making, whether it's related to their academics or even, personally. Being able to now do that in a community that they are growing up in, it all is entailed with being able to not just do it for the young, but do it for the community, do it for their families, do it for
mm,
their grandmothers, because we all are connected in a way, whether it's mathematically, by analyzing situations, or even educationally, because we want them to be able to grow up and be contributors to the city of Kansas, Mississippi. So combining those two makes me know that I'm a great candidate because of those situations that I face day to day.
powerful. That's awesome. Very good wording. Okay, what are some key issues that you believe need to be addressed in the town of Canton, Mississippi?
We know that Canton has a great deal of potential. We've been able to stand the hand of time since 1836.
Hmm.
And, God has allowed us to be able to be here today. Although we have a lot of potential, there are a lot of things that we have to address.
Hmm.
Um, some things that we have to address, of course, is our infrastructure. Being able to know what is the best route to take for our infrastructure. We also
Hmm.
need to be able to make sure that our city is safe. That we know that crime happens everywhere, but we want to
Hmm.
be able to eliminate that as much as possible in the hometown that we have to reside in. Being
Hmm.
able to also make sure that when people come and want to be able to bring business to Canton, that is willing to be attractive, with us being able to address our dilapidated housing and our revitalization of our buildings in the city of Canton. But in addition to that, being able to bring something here for our kids. What do
Hmm.
we have that will be able to make sure that they have a childhood that's worth living, but
Hmm.
also being built upon with their workforce development? How can we then make sure that once they graduate high school, that they're doing something productive as productive citizens by being able to, again, contribute back to Canton, because we want to be contributors and not just receivers. So
Hmm.
with being able to address all of those issues, which of course there are, we can talk all day about the issues,
Hmm.
but prioritizing those initially through our structural analysis, with making sure that we have the right people in place to execute all of these things, we will be able to become this Kenton that we want to be.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, as a woman of faith, how do you plan to incorporate your beliefs in your leadership style and decisions as a mayor?
Well, there are a lot of attributes and characteristics that any woman of faith or man of faith should have going into any job title specifically. But as it relates to me in this one, I want to be able to have compassion, be able to make sure that I'm fair, be able to
Mhm.
make sure that I'm acting in love for everything that I'm doing, because we are to love every individual. but
Mhm.
also be able to make sure that I'm praying about every decision. I'm going about it with discernment, being able to consult with God and have the decisions to know that every decision that I'm making is not for my personal gain, but it's for the people. With being
Mm.
able to approach it with that aspect, I'll be able to know that my heart is in the right place
Mhm.
because I'm doing it to serve the people and not be served by the people.
Hmm. All right. Wonderful. And I think that's very important. It's very awesome that you said those things because when I think about, when I grew up in Canada, it was only, the Caucasians and the African American blacks, of course. And now we have Latino, we have the Spanish that's there now. So I think it's very, very important to reach across that aisle and, support it. Like you said, everyone, there's no respective person, basically. And I think that's a wonderful thing to listen to your constituents and those that are in need, especially in such a small city. And like you said, Ken has such a great potential to do great things. And so many, as I'm watching so many great things coming out of Mississippi, you and I are one of them, okay? No, so I'm just teasing. But anyway, I'm so glad that, and you inspired me to watch our young people coming to have such vision in direction. I think that's so, so wonderful. Um, now, can you tell us about your mentorship program? It's called Finally First. I think that's such a great name, and how it has impacted students' success in the community.
As it relates to Finally First, when I served as Miss Jackson State University in 2017,
Ah,
2018, I wanted to be able to create a platform because you have to go about everything with bringing awareness. What are you bringing awareness to? And
mhm,
oftentimes when we go to college, we don't have those leaders right hand, mentors that we need that are like us. So I
mhm,
created a mentorship titled Finally First. And the reason it's titled Finally First is because sometimes we often put everyone before ourselves. We put the
mm,
needs of everyone around us before us. And I wanted students to finally realize that they can prioritize their self. So with
mm,
being able to address that mental health that we now know in the world is important, I was being able to acknowledge that back in 2017 with bringing awareness to it by prioritizing your self-care, your self-love, and your self-worth. And we were able to come together, be able to have professional development as it relates to our academia, be able to have professional development as it relates to our social development, our workforce development, and also be able to now see those very same people trailblaze through whatever they were able to face. They're
mm.
now doctors, occupational therapists,
Awesome.
very individuals that help assist with starting this program have gone through this with prioritizing their self and they've been able to accomplish their goals. So
Mm,
that is the goal, and being able to now even bring that to Kenton now that we are now a nonprofit, we're able to now expand that across our youth because we're going to need a lot of different programs to be able to give them that foresight that they need and also be able to keep them engaged. What is
mm,
something new that they want to learn about? What is something new that we haven't thought they want to learn, but now we need to be able to address and keep them engaged in?
mm. That is so, so powerful and awesome, and you're so, so right, because, there's an old saying that an empty mind is the devil's playground. We say that back, home. And when you think about, excuse me, when you think about our young people, not having anything to do, I think this is so inspirational to hear the words that you're saying to encourage them, especially just to see you doing great and awesome things, and that's very inspiring. And that is very, very awesome and needed, especially for today's generation of our young people. Because again, when they don't have any type of direction or a mentor like yourself, it's so vital for for them to be able to thrive and do better in life. So that is a total awesome statement there as well. Okay, so um, okay, what inspired your campaign theme, "A New Way, a New Voice," and what changes do you hope to bring to the town through its approach?
Okay, so well, when I initially started, I knew that I would be the youngest candidate amongst
Mm,
my opponents. I also knew that I would be able to be something different for the
mm,
people. So I wanted something that would resonate with who I am as a candidate, but also who I am as a person that before
mm,
anyone would know me. So with being able to know that it's a new way because I'm now approaching it with a fresh perspective. Not a
Mm.
fresh perspective from just being a Kentonian, because we all could be Kentonians, but a fresh
Yes.
perspective with understanding where we are currently in the state of Kansas, Mississippi. A fresh
Mm.
perspective with knowing how we should address the things that we're dealing with. How can we address our infrastructure versus what we've always addressed it with? How can we now
Mhm.
address our public safety, our education, and even the things regarding our economic growth? What is
Mm.
something different that we could do as far as a new way to collaborate in our
Mm.
government, or even be able to have those data driven decisions that will say, this is the percentage, and this is why we made this decision to impact the majority of those individuals. Now, as it
Mm.
relates to a new voice, I knew I would be a new voice. It's something
Mhm.
different. It's
Yes.
something that resonates with, again, all age groups. I don't
Mm.
meet a stranger. I can instantly walk up to any elder, any young person, and any middle-aged person and have a conversation with them about anything. So
Mm.
being able to now have a new voice of individuals that is able to address the concerns of all people, be their voice when they are absent, be their voice in the seat that we have at a table, but also the seat that we're sitting in, is something that I want to be able to address by representing the people of Canton, Mississippi. Now,
Mm.
through that, because I know you asked, what do I hope to be able to address with it? What is my hope for that? I want to be
Mhm.
able to make the citizens hopeful. Being
Mhm.
able to ride through my city every day and see how people are enthused about me running for mayor, being
Mhm.
able to see the younger people say, "Oh my God, I know you. I saw you on a sign," and even them saying, "Well, what are you going to do?" I
Mm.
have the honor to be able to allow younger people to get more involved in this, and at elementary school level, and they can't even vote. But I
Mm.
also have the opportunity to allow the elders to realize that I want to be able to witness the growth of Kenton while God has still given me breath in my body. So
Awesome.
I hope to be able to revitalize Kenton, create more opportunities while we still have the old here and the young growing up to witness it.
Awesome. That's very, very awesome. And that's so encouraging to hear you say those things. And let me just say, I'm the kind of person I do my little background check. I check around on folk, and because as Rich I always tell people on my show, hey, I don't bring anybody on my show. So I do a little background check and make sure that everything is in line and in order. And I must say, I've heard nothing but good things about you. And I've seen pictures. I've heard other folks have told me, yeah, she's out there. She's talking to the community. She's meeting with the elders. I saw pictures of that as well. The young folks are enthused, about you coming into the race as well. So hey, kudos for what you're doing, and please continue to do that. Please continue to thrive and encourage our generation in our city because it's so needed. It's so needed. And again, when I saw and heard about you running for mayor, and especially being a woman of God, have Christian values like your great uncle do. I really that really enthused me, and that's why I had to reach out. I was going to reach out to this young lady and just have she can I have on Everyday Miracle just to hear her testimony, her direction, her focus, and all those things. So I'm excited. I'm excited for you, and it sounds really really great. So far. Um, how do you plan on driving economic growth and improving education in Ken? As a mayor, do you have any direction that you would like to take the city to in those areas?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things is that if you do not have an economic development plan or growth plan, I wouldn't encourage anyone to run for mayor.
Mm.
However, we know that before we get to the economic status that we would like as a city we're going to have to get some things in place. We're going to
Yes.
have to want to be able to address our development situation, address again those dilapidated housing, make Kenton more attractive, and
Yes.
also leverage our strengths. What are we good at? What are we known for? We know that we are the city of rich history and tradition. How can we hone upon that? But
Mm.
also be able to address the workforce development. How can we be able to work for local school systems and even jobs to prepare people for what's to come in Canton? We have an
Mm.
ABC warehouse. We have a Coca-Cola plant coming. We even have Amazon here in these
Ah.
zones. How can we be able to make sure that they're staying employed with employees that are quality people? How can
Mm.
we be able to ensure that once our students are graduating from high school, that they have an option to either go into the workforce or even go to college? How can we
Mm.
hone upon that as a city? But also, what are people looking for as they bring businesses to Kenton? How
Mm.
is the process for them? Are we making it seamless? Is it too tedious? Is it where people are saying, oh my God, I'm giving the runaround? We want to
Hmm.
make sure that we make everything simple for when businesses want to come to Canton, that they see where they can thrive, but even more, they truly understand how they can grow and that we're willing to support them through even creating incentive for our businesses. How can we
Hmm.
be able to negotiate those things and build our city?
Hmm.
Now, as it relates to our economic improvement plan, I want to be able to, of course, strengthen our partnerships with our schools. Although we are under and operating under a different board, it is still important that we act as one unit. The reason I
Mhm.
say that is because kids only see one. They don't
Hmm.
see and understand how it really operates. So
Mhm.
how can they be able to say, I saw the mayor at my school today, or I saw
Hmm.
the mayor doing a school board meeting and they were advocating for us. They were
Hmm.
being able to express that these are career opportunities that we not only see in our students, but once they graduate, we see now young adults have expressed interest in this. Be able to
Hmm.
also expand our after school programs. We have a great educational system, even with Kent Academy and Kansas Public School District. But it is important that once school is out, what is there to do for our students? How
Hmm.
can they be able to now address that technology enhancement that's happening everywhere in the world? Are we
Mhm.
being able to know that we have the resources to now allow them to compete with those surrounding cities, surrounding states, where we can
Mhm.
now say Canton is on the map because we have our very own now being able to go out and compete with those people. So I
Hmm.
wanted to start there with, of course, the economic growth, making us
Mhm.
attractive and cute, but more so making people want to say, I'm from Canton, or I went through Canton today, and you should drive down there. But also with our students, being able to make them, once they graduate, allow them to stay here. I don't
Hmm.
want them to leave and go somewhere else and help another city or state prosper. How can
Mhm.
I be able to allow them to know that Canton will forever be my home? But while I'm here, I will be able to now own this business that's in the city of Canton.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. Canton is known as the city of lights, so it's so great to know that to and also lighten up the lives of those that are there to do all those wonderful things that, like you said, it's so great. Um, Everybody's not meant to go away from. When I was young, it was so different about trying to branch out into other places. I went to Florida first with my auntie, had it be for 3 years after I graduated in '82. Class of '82. And well, I went to the local college, their home junior college as well. And I remember, branching out from there to California in the late '80s. So, it's amazing how life goes around and comes around. And
Yeah.
as you get older, I'm noticing that, I even miss being home sometimes, even the more. Some of those special things about
Yeah.
home.
Mhm.
We go out there and like you said, it's good to know that you have a place that you can build right there at home. Right there
Yeah.
at home, you can
Right
be
there at
there. You
home.
can build there. You can start a
Yeah.
business there.
Mhm.
It's so many opportunities if we just put our mind to doing great things for the city. And it begins with a much
Yes.
prayer and direction, and connecting like what you're doing. I find it very important to. I have a nonprofit called the National Increased Peace Foundation, and what I do through my nonprofit is we go to different cities to encourage the young people, especially about life, about direction. Because for myself, I'm a victim of gang violence. In '03, I was shot 5 times, leaving 10 holes in my body, doing a trip to pick up my wife from work over in LA, unfortunately. And boy, my mom, Lily C, was upset. Boy, mom said, "Come on home right
I
now."
know it.
Robert Lee, my brother Rob Lee came out. Leo, Frederick, my nephews came out. My sister Charlie Mae, Vicky at the time. Everybody. My mom was so bold. She was trying to get the number to the mayor's office to look,
Yes,
send a
yes.
helicopter to get my baby. Because we wasn't raised in those types of things. One thing I love about Canton too, and when I think about our young people, is the fact that it's a lot of love there. It's a small town love, and you're gonna have knuckleheads. That's in every city. So
Yes,
we face
yes.
that, but you deal with them accordingly. But in the meantime, in between time, those that are embracing life and want to do great things, I'm like yourself. I employ them. I encourage them to just keep that faith and that walk as what you're doing, and I think it'll be overwhelmingly awesome for them. And right there in Ken, because I'm
Yep.
telling you, people thinking flocking to the cities was a big thing when I grew up, but now you can do great right there in old small town. Folk think you come to the city, you're living a big life, Beverly Hills, and they're right, Brother Rich. They think you're living a big life in Beverly Hills, and folks are struggling just as hard as they are in the South. And in many ways, you guys are living better than we are in this big city, because you people be surprised.
Yeah.
They see those Hollywood lights, they see those stars, and they think, oh, that's the everyday life. But the reality is we have over 80, right at 100,000 homeless people on the
Mm,
streets of California. It's a sad situation. And
yeah.
not only California, New York, all those other places. So it's good to know that they're in a season, in a moment right now in time where they can grow right there in Ken, right there in Mississippi, and make the best of things. I have a nephew, Ricky. I've heard he has a beautiful home now. So
Mhm.
people are really thriving in those small towns versus running to these cities. So that's awesome. That's really really awesome, Nisi. Um, last question for this is, I wanted to ask you. Community engagement is key to effective leadership. How do you plan to foster transparency and innovation? For example, are you open to hosting open shared decision making process, is what I called it? Actively listening to feedback from diverse members. That mean, we have our African American, but now we got the Spanish as well, in Mississippi, in Ken. I'm telling you, it blew me away. I'm just gonna be real. When I came up, man, like I said, it was only the blacks and the whites, and that was it. When
Yeah.
I saw Spanish on the TV, I'm like, who are those folks? It was just, it was different, because that's what we knew. That's what we grew up in Mississippi. So when life changed, and now, these different genres of people are coming in now, and the Chinese and all those things. It just amazed me how the city is changing. Let me jump back into this question. My mind is just running all over the place here. Okay, so again, community engagement is key to effective leadership. How do you plan to foster transparency and innovation? For example, are you open to hosting open, share decision-making process, actively listening to feedback from diverse members, providing regular progress reports, and seeking new ideas to make the community safer, especially for our elders? My auntie, Auntie Naomi, I love her so much. She's right there. And I said, Auntie, you're going to be safe out there, right? She said, oh, yeah, I got my cameras. So,
Everybody does have them, but community engagement, transparency, and innovation will be the core of my of me being a mayor. The
yeah.
reason that is because when we think about community, those are the people that got me there. And being able to remain engaged is how I'm able to address their concerns, address their needs, but also be able to fellowship and build relationships with them so that for a long haul, we're able to do that. As it relates to transparency and innovation, we have to remain transparent so people can know what's going on in Canton.
Yes.
Through those open forums, town hall meetings, city hall meetings, I want to be able to address how we can pack those meetings out more. Get
Mhm.
people to want to come out and hear what's going on or what's coming to Canton without keeping secrets from them, because this is just as much as their city as it is mine. But I
Yes.
think it's so important that we keep updates
Mhm.
through being able to have reports on the website, making it easily navigational, and being able to utilize our local newspaper with providing those updates, utilizing
Mhm.
our local radio station so that they can then be able to hear what is currently going on in Canton. How are we
Mhm.
being able to change where we are currently through new ideas, through fresh
Mhm.
ideas? But it is even more important that we truly understand that there has to be a mayor and a board of aldermen that
Mhm.
work together. It does not, it will not, it cannot take a mayor, me, myself alone. It
Mhm.
will have to take the mayor and the board of aldermen to be able to listen to all of the constituents to move Kenton forward. Because if we do it alone, we're not doing it together and we'll still be getting the same results that we're currently getting. So it's so
Mhm.
important that we all are listening, and once we come together in those meetings, as we represent each and every one of these citizens, we have to be able to make sure we're making decisions that will impact them and not just us as a board. What
Mm.
will truly be able to make people say, well, I did share my concern and Mayor Walker did this. I
Mm.
shared my concern and the alderman or the alderwoman went about it this way. because we need them to know the results and what we did with it, so they can then be able to understand that, "Oh, I'm going to the meeting because this is what's going to happen out, as an outcome of the meeting." But if
Mhm.
they don't get that buy-in, if we're not listening, if we're not being able to give them updates when they report concerns, then we lose them. And
Mm,
we constantly become a city that's losing their residents. We constantly become a city that loses their hope and almost
mhm,
loses the faith that God has poured in us. We
mhm.
only need that faith the size of a mustard seed to know that Kenton can, and we will. We will.
That's awesome. Very, very good. And faith without works is dead. And I'm so glad to see that's what the word says. And I'm so glad to see you are putting in the work. I must say that I watched other mayors through this years. Um, uh, and for me, from what I'm seeing, you are more innovative. You're more approachable and reachable. And bottom line, you care more from what
Yeah.
I'm seeing. That's just my little opinion. Everybody got their own, but on this show, my opinion is I think you're doing, I mean, I've seen it. I'm not just talking. I'm the kind of person, I don't believe in all that talk.
Yeah.
I believe in being a doer, just like the word, be a doer of God's word. And I believe that we must show love, respect, and honor and listen from one to the other in order to make this world a better place, especially a little town called Canton, Mississippi.
Oh,
And
that's
I
right.
want to dive a little deeper into your personal life and just, talk about this. I want to hear about your faith. I know
Mm.
there's a few scriptures that are your favorite scriptures, and I just want to know exactly what they mean to you, personally. So I'm going to read some of them right now, okay? Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. I love that. That's one of my favorite. And make it plain upon tables, that it may run that readeth it.
Mhm.
So, what does that mean to you?
So, as it relates to writing our vision down, the scripture also tells us whoever reads it will run and tell others. It
Mm,
is so important that when we write our vision, we first do it in unity with God,
mm,
because He's the one who will be able to see us through. And my prayer every time that I read that scripture every morning is that God allow your will to be done, but most importantly, allow me to be able to have the strength to accept your will.
mm,
Because oftentimes we have a plan, we want these grand things to happen, and when they don't happen, we feel like, oh my God has let me down. But
mm.
if it is aligned with His will, His perfect and good will, it will go as according to His will.
Wow.
So with that, I'm able to know that no matter the outcome of any situation, if I was able to write it down, have discipline, go to God and consult with Him and be able to fast and pray about it, then I know this too shall pass. But even the more, if
Mm,
I'm in relationship with God, He will always steer me to be able to have my vision revealed to me, so I then can write it down and make it plain. And then I can say, well, now, Uncle Tony, I'm gonna give it to you, and you can tell the whole world about it because it
mm,
has come to pass. So
mm,
it's more so where I've written it in private,
mm.
consulted with God. Now I can share it with the world, and they too can be able to say, I've seen what God has done for her, so I know
That's
what He
it.
can do for me.
There you go. I love that. That's awesome. That's it. Walking in faith and not by sight. That just powerful, and especially like you said, write the vision. I tell a lot of people, especially young people that I speak to and minister to, write your vision. Not only write it, begin to seek it.
Yeah.
Works without faith is dead. I mean, I just have to grasp people and want to shake them sometimes. You can't just pray about it. You got to be about it, man.
Work.
It's
You
not
got
going
to
to fall out
work.
the word. It's not going to fall out the sky.
Right.
And I must admit, I remember years ago when I had certain visions and things that I wanted to do, I was hoping to do, and I'm standing still like, well, maybe it'll fall out the sky. But Brother Richard never fell out the sky, brother. So I had to just, begin to learn and begin to walk out on faith, begin to do those things to make it possible.
Yes.
And I'm so glad, again, you are not just a talker. I'm seeing you being a doer of the
Yeah.
word by going into the community, by talking to those young folks, the elders, encouraging them, let them know it's going to be a brighter day.
You.
Sometimes we get like what you said, we, in some of your statement, a lot of times we get so displaced, and discouraged because it doesn't happen right then and there,
Yes.
but you have to keep fighting the good fight of faith. Keep walking in faith. You know, a lot of times, I don't know if you know, I did a film called about my life called I Forgive, you know, and I was blessed to have Academy Award winner Lou Gossett Jr. to do the voice of God in my film. I never forget, I was like, when the Lord put that vision in me, like he put vision in you and so many others, you know, I had the vision. I'm like, okay, I want to do it. God said, I said, I want to do a film. And God said, begin to walk out on faith, begin to speak it, is what he told me. Begin to speak it. So I began to share with folk, you know, I'm going to do a film. God said, I'm going to do a film. And they looked at me like, man, do you know how much a film costs? Millions of dollars. You're not going to be able to do a film. I said, but God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills.
He
That's
does.
what he said. So if he can do that, there's nothing too impossible for. They're like, yeah, right. You sound like you just dreaming. I'm like, I'm telling you. So I kept saying the vision. I kept speaking it into existence because, you know, you got to speak those things as though they are, you know.
Yes.
And I began to speak it on television, on different interviews and places that I went. And all of a sudden, it took about a year of speaking, you know, because again, we want that microwave thing. We want it to happen right then and there. We don't want to wait for nothing, you know. We got it, not knowing that a lot of times God has to prepare us
He does.
for the blessings to come. Because you know, I know that I noticed that some people that get blessed with certain amounts of money or whatever, they can't handle it. They go crazy and stupid and begin to do partying hard, and it's all about me, and they want the limelight, instead of using it wise the way God wants us to use it, which is to be a blessing to others. And
Yeah.
so in that, I was so glad that it came to pass that the film got done, a full feature film, and I've shared with people, they can see it right now. It's you know, we had over half a million views on one of the YouTube for Bridgestone is my distributor. So again, people can go out there and see I Forgive, and also my books. I have a book, Heaven is Real. Now my new book is Forgiveness Triumph Over Tragedy. So in that, I'm just trying to show that if we walk by faith, if we speak those things as though they are, if we put the work into it, like what you're doing, it will come to pass.
Will.
You know, don't be I know, again, we be stagnated a little bit, but don't allow that stagnation to be your destination.
That's right.
You
Amen.
know, don't get in the middle of the hallway and stop, you know, because, oh my God, everything around me is bad. Nobody's doing nothing. No, great is he that's in you
Yes,
than he
indeed.
that's in the world.
That's
Okay,
right.
let me jump back to you, Nisi. Okay, the next another one of your favorite scriptures, Romans 12:2. It says, and be not conformed, I love that, to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. What does that mean to you?
Now, I'm going to talk about that in a twofold, my personal and as it relates to my candidacy. In my personal life, you know, at the age of 28 years of age, which is where I am, most
Young.
of my young, you know, counterparts are doing different things, you know,
Yes.
and it is so easy to be consumed by what we see on TV by individuals that are my age, or even what we comparison, you know, constant comparison before, you know, realizing that you don't have to compare yourself. You know, what God has ordained for you is specifically for you. But
Yes.
even more, being able to realize that by me not being conformed to the ways of this world, but by truly acknowledging who God is in my life, all things that will happen for me according to his will be just as it should be.
Mm.
So as it relates to the mayoral candidacy, no, I'm not an ideal candidate because I'm young, but I am an ideal candidate because I'm doing this according to what I have received from God, not me.
Mm.
So
Oh.
had this been something that a man had poured into me, I may not be here because it
Mhm.
wouldn't be aligned with God's will. But because God said I can, I am here
Come on.
because I know what I am capable of. I know that I have put in the work and I am putting in the work to prove myself worthy of the leadership in the city of Kenton to take us where we should be, which is out of Egypt. I
Come on
know
now.
that he's able to be able to take us to a place where we always wanted because we've been crying out for years and years and years. And
Mm.
here we are with God giving us a response to our cries. So it'll be left up to us to again not be conformed to the ways of this world, which are the
Mm.
individuals that are around us,
Come
but be
on now.
transformed by the renewing of our minds to truly understand that God, allow me to see what you have placed in her. Allow me to
Mm.
see what she can truly do for the city of Kenton, but also give me questions to ask her Give me
Mm,
reason to believe that she is the one. And with that, I know that God will, because according to his will, everything will happen because his will is perfect and it is good.
All right, now you're gonna make us start shouting up in here, okay? Brother Rich about to jump out the chair over there. Yeah. Okay, and your dad is, you remind me so much of your father, Rhett Walker. Rhett is such a great guy. He's a go-getter.
Yes,
And I
sir.
can see that gene. We all have that gene of go-getters, and chasing after what God has called us to do. And I mean that is just powerful. Just know that you're lining yourself up with the word of God and what God is calling you to do and the things of God. Oh, that is powerful, powerful, powerful stuff there, Doctor. Okay, the next thing is I want to ask, I want you to abide on is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me.
Yes,
So
indeed.
come on now, what
I
does
think
that
that
mean
is
to
an
you?
all-time favorite. I think that is everyone's go-to
Yeah.
because we shouldn't be judged by how many times we fail, but we should be judged by how many times we got back up.
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, we're not perfect. We
mm,
come with flaws. We all have something that we're battling on a day-to-day, but we deny our flesh every day. However, it is God that strengthened us to be able to get up when we fall,
come
get
on
up
now.
when we don't know what to do. But even right now, as a city of Kenton, we do feel that we are down. But if
Mm,
we believe that God will strengthen
mm.
us with leaders that can believe, not only just as a community, but we need leaders to believe, even when no one else believes, Uncle Tony,
That's
that
right.
we can be able to be what we should be according to our population of people. When
Mm,
we know that, when we know that in all things that he will strengthen us, we won't ever consider a failure. We won't ever
mm.
think that we are a failure. We will know that we will rise above everything.
Yes. Oh, that's great. You reminded me of, I heard your uncle Kobe Walker said those things as well. Man, we can ride above everything, and that
Everything.
just is such powerful words. Okay, John 3:16. It says, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but what? Have everlasting life. What does that mean to you?
Well, we know that it is so hard for us to forgive ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves just as
So
individuals.
true.
But it is so important that we understand God's grace, and
Mm,
where they came from. Where did God's grace and mercy come from that's able to get us through and by each and every day? But when we
mm,
truly understanding that God gave he allowed himself to become into the flesh, into this world.
mm,
That just so we can have another chance at life each and every day. I think that is so much worth us being able to acknowledge, but also so much worth us being able to know that because I'm willing, God is able. Because
mm.
I believe in surrendering to his will, he will guide me through. Because I'm
Mm.
able to know that if two or more are gathered in his
Yes.
name, that he's in the midst, then we will be okay. But it is so important that we're able to acknowledge God,
Yes.
but also the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because had it not been for him that was on
Yes.
our side, I don't know where I'd be, but I for sure don't know
Yes.
where we would be as a people.
Oh my goodness, that's powerful. That's powerful. If it was not been for the Lord on our side, and I just want to just reach out. Wow, my Dr. Comelia Walker is here with us, you guys, to let you know. Isn't this encouraging words just to hear a young woman of God, that love vision, has passion for the people, and I think it's so encouraging, especially young folks that are watching today. Just be encouraged by her walk, her conversation, her love for people, and her love for God is so vital. It's very important in our walk every day that we keep walking by faith and not by sight. What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I cannot see it with my natural eyes,
Mhm.
but through my eyes of faith, I see vision and purpose.
That's
So,
right.
I'm so glad. Oh my goodness, how those are powerful, powerful words. Those are powerful scriptures. Like you said, it's those that are those go-tos that we go to encourage our daily walk. There's another question I want to ask you that came to my mind as we was talking. Um, how would your Christian values influence your approach to leadership and decision making in the city? How would your Christian values, as you approach those things, what do you think about that?
Well, something that is important is to truly be able to understand that although I have Christian values, we all as citizens have values based on our beliefs. and
Mm,
being able to allow everyone come to the table with whatever value they may have, hear them out, but make sure that we're coming together in unity and basing those decisions on what's best. It is
mm,
going to be important that I address it and consult with God about my values, but
mhm,
being able to be respectful of those other values. Again, as we've spoken earlier, we have Hispanics, we have Caucasian community, we have Indian community in the city of Kinston, and we,
mm,
God knows how many more ethnicities are expanding or wanting to navigate to our area. It's so important that we understand the diversity in our
mm,
values, but even more understand the necessary need for us to be informed about our different cultures. How can we
mm,
bring them together through our values, whether it's
mm,
Christian values or even your religion values, but even your personal values? So with
mm.
mine, I just want to be able to always make sure that God has a place at the table when I'm there, but
Come
even
on now.
with ensuring that I keep that as the forefront of my mind without getting distracted and encompassing the other values, but allowing everyone to have their place.
Hmm. Wow, that's awesome. That's very awesome. Now, tell me, has anything ever discouraged you or delayed your progress as far as trying to move? This is something came to my mind as you navigate through certain things in life. Has there ever been a distraction that you feel that has held you back, but you overcame by by the word of your testimony about by keep moving forward. Has anything ever almost had you there, but you overcame it? Anything in mind that you can think of?
I can think of a few things. I guess one would be, of course, my childhood, because
Mm,
oftentimes people look at where we come from and think we won't mount to anything.
mm,
A lot of times people think that because we come from areas that are not coming for successful people, that certain seats at a table are not designed for us.
mm,
But even more, now being in a place where I'm an educated Black woman and my age is coming to be something that people are utilizing against me as me not being the best candidate for the city of Kenton, that's, concerning, because how can we ever move forward if we are creating barriers for anyone to grow? But if
mm,
we think about it that way, if we're extending that rod to someone right here in our city, it's going to be even difficult for us as a city to grow when it's time for us to be able to be provided with resources from the state. Because
mm,
we need to be able to position ourselves to always be in a position to be wanted or but have a seat at the table. But even more as it relates to those barriers, we've
mm,
always thought that maybe if I did this because I thought it was the best plan, that is a barrier. Because
mm,
without consulting with God, I know for me, I've not always been had God as my friend. And
mhm.
because of that, there have been obstacles and challenges that have came about in my life. But with those challenges, I quickly returned back home like the prodigal son and understood that this is where I belong. And it was through sacrifice and understanding what God intended for me to be. Because I've even experienced a Jonah experience in my life where I've tried to run from something and God brought me right back to it.
Wow.
So it is so important that through those experiences that I have witnessed, that I always return to God to consult with Him and ask Him, what is my right now? Why am I here right now? And what is it that you want me to do and you want me to see in these skills and talents that you have gifted me with?
Hmm. Wow. I'm telling you, boy, you definitely got the hand of God on you, and you take that from Dr. Tony Davis, because I've been down this road for a moment now, and I've done movies, I've done books, I've done events. I'm still doing it, going to different cities with my National Increased Peace Foundation. We scheduled for Kankakee, Illinois, towards the end of May. I've done Champaign, Peoria. They keep me in Chicago for some reason here lately. And I'm having meetings here with city officials, in the city as well. And I must say that, you are one of apple of God's eye from what I'm seeing because of your passion, because of what I'm hearing out of your mouth. And again, I hear others, even in my little town that are leaders, and they don't have the passion. They don't have the honesty
Mm.
that I've seen. Again, this is me talking from what I've seen, what I've experienced. I've reached out and tried to deal with some of them, and it was like, And so I'm glad that I've seen your walk. Again, I did my research. I've spoke with people about you individually, and I've heard a lot of good things. And I think it's very important that this new generation, especially the old generation, to begin to pass that torch to someone like yourself, whom is really, really concerned about the city and can do. I think you can do great things. I think that you can build that bridge between the old to the new. Something that is very, very much needed. Amongst our young people to encourage them because they need that. They can't keep going back and looking at those old tapes that Uncle Tony used to do. You, I just, Brother Rich, I just began to transfer some of my VHS tapes over to to audio. so, I'm really blessed though, and I'm telling you, you guys enthuse me. I love to hear the heart of our young people like yourself, especially the wisdom. Wisdom is so important to me. And and you like, it's like a young lady in an old body because
Everybody tell me
you
that.
got that wisdom, man, and I love that. I love that, and it's very vital. It's almost like Martin Luther King. He had all that wisdom from a young age because God had His hand on him. And with you coming out of, they said, can anything good come out of Lola? Not the kid is Lola Bar, but I'm just
Right, I understand what you're saying. Yes.
can anything good come out of this place? And you are a testament to that, with this new generation that I'm seeing, and it's time to pass that torch, man. And I encourage our elders in the city to pray for this young lady, to get behind her and, keep her lifted in front of God for
Yes.
direction and purpose and destiny that we all need, especially there, because she has it. And I'm not just saying, I'm telling you, you guys, I don't put my mouth or I don't put my hand behind anything. I know because of what God has brought me from. God has raised me from 30 minutes of death, 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I saw heaven and He sent me back with a mission of forgiveness and triumph over tragedy. And I'm telling you, God has expanded that mission around the world. I mean, I'm reaching people all across the globe. I'm getting emails and calls and constantly, even out here in Anaheim, I got this the Spanish family that I'm pretty much their pastor. I've buried the families. I've dedicated the babies to the Lord. I mean, all of those things. So in that, I'm just watching you and what you have a purpose and a destiny for in Canton. And I think that you can take Canton to another level that it needs. It's time God said, behold, I want to do a new thing.
A new thing.
You don't
That's
want that old thing. That old thing is done died out, y'all. Come on, Mississippi,
yes.
Canton, and begin to open your minds for a new thing that God is doing because there's destiny and purpose in that. And you can be blessed in that. Instead of somebody trying to feed you a hot dog for your vote. Oh, let me stop. Let me let that alone, Brother Rich. I ain't gonna go there. So I'm just saying you have to engage, listen, and begin to open up your mind to, I'm telling you, man, that's the only way you can see God working in your life, young people and elders, is to open your mind to hear what God is saying through our young people, such as Dr. Comelia, because she has a heart for God and a heart for the people. It's so important to place Christian value folk in these positions of power and authority, those that are real, true Christians and values of people. And I'm telling you, I know from what I've seen, heard, and spoke with this young lady that she has a heart for the people. She really does. Just like my nephew, Kobe. Kobe has a heart for the people, feeding the homeless. I joined him years ago. We had a big thing it's called the Elks,
Yeah.
where he was feeding folk, and he does it every year. I'm so proud of him for that. And I'm watching you with your heart. I'm telling you, boy, that good blood is running through our veins, girl. But listen, we are winding down, and I just want to hear your voice again. I just want to listen to hear your heart for Canton, the vision, and we'll slowly wind it. We got about 2 more minutes, but go ahead, and I want them to hear your voice and just share a little bit more of your vision and your thoughts.
It is so important that in this day and age that we truly understand the state of this race, but not just the state of this race, but the presence of God in this race. It is so important that we truly take time out to ensure that whomever your choice is, that they encompass you as a citizen, your values, and you ensure that you're consulting with God about the outcome of this election. Even the more, it is so important that we establish a candidate that could be able to go for years and years of growth in Kenton. We can't have the constant turnover in our leadership. We want to be able to have someone who's energetic, who's vibrant, who is a new way, a new voice, and that candidate is myself, Comelia Walker. I thank you all so much for listening. I invite each of you to reach out to me if you want to ask me any questions. My contact campaign line is 769-567-4782. I'm at your expense. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'm open to answering any questions. Thank you all so much, Dr. Davis, for this opportunity.
Well, Dr. Comelia Walker is in the house, Kent, Mississippi, okay, and all around the world. I'm so proud of this young lady. Listen, you guys, especially Kent, Mississippi, get out and support her. Get out to hear her voice. Reach out to her
Yes.
and listen to the vision, the direction, and the purpose that God has placed her on, okay? Well, we came down to a close. Until next time, I pray the best for you. Listen, I want you guys to sow a seed into HSBN, you guys. Sow that seed today. This is how we come into your homes to encourage you, to direct you with the word of God, the encouragement of God, because in this house, they love the Lord. I'm so proud of and so much appreciative of Apostle Bill and Pastor Dr. Oh my goodness, Mary, my Anne Marie. Oh my God, my mind is. And Pastor Anne Marie, I love her. You know I do. So Pastor Anne Marie, so they love the Lord. They are true to their hearts, and also my dear friend Brother Rich over there, our engineer, doing a great job. So you guys, please continue to walk in faith, not by sight. Please continue to love on each other, support each other, encourage each other, and like never before, and watch the hand of God come into your life. Till next time.